So I have the 2021 Mercedes AMG GLE 53 Coupe, and I'm going to showcase the 5 best things about this thing. So let's get to it. First off, one of the best things about this thing is its 3-liter inline-6 turbocharged engine. It puts out 429 horsepower, 384 foot-pounds of torque, and trust me, you can feel all that performance behind your right foot. It's great to cruise around town in, and honestly, putting it in some of the more nuttier modes like Sport Plus, you get to really enjoy the engine. That combo of that power along with the transmission. I personally enjoy putting that 9-speed transmission in its manual modes and forcing the vehicle to do all its burbles and pops, and it's just a great engine drivetrain package. So jumping right from those gargles and pops out the back of the exhaust, that has got to be one of my favorite things about this thing. It basically is a very angry sounding SUV crossover vehicle, and it's only enhanced by the AMG performance exhaust that we have on the back of this thing right now. So I'm going to drop in a clip right now so you can experience it. So as you can hear, this thing just sounds great, angry, and I love that. So the next best thing about this thing is the interior displays. So as you can see from this view, it basically looks like this is all one large display that's basically cut by how the steering wheel comes down, but it's really 2 screens. You get a nice 12.3-inch information cluster along with a nice 12.3-inch touchscreen driver nav screen, basically everything else. This is basically your gauge cluster, and this is your nav screen. But from this view, as you can see, it just kind of looks like it all blends together, and they are really beautiful screens that you can see. I really like how you can customize it between a more comfort oriented screen, or I prefer this more nutty AMG screen. The nice crisp display allows you to choose whatever you want over on the right. I usually leave this thing showcasing, performance oriented screens as well, but you can have it showcase anything you want. There's a track. You can go even farther in the performance direction. There's a track app where you can do drag race times, telemetry, things of that nature, or you can just have comfort information for massages and things of that. But those screens are really nice, crisp, clear, and really let you know that you're in something special. Another one of the best things about this thing is this features the AMG performance steering wheel. It's wrapped in Alcantara, which I always love Alcantara wheels, but one of the coolest things about the steering wheel is it features a couple buttons that have screens of their own. And if a steering wheel has screens in it or on it, I feel like that's just cool. So it features a button for start stop. You can turn it on, turn it off. There's suspension buttons, so you can go between comfort, sport, and sport plus. And then this little dial over here on the right goes between all the modes, so you can go sport plus, which you may have heard makes it sound a little bit better, sport, comfort, the individual mode that is customizable. Snow mode, basically they call it slippery, trail, and sand. But having screens on the steering wheel is really cool to me. The steering wheel feels nice, it looks great. The paddles on the back are just perfect position. I think just all around great package for a steering wheel, and just couldn't not add it to my list. I think for my last best thing on this thing, it's gonna have to be the driving characteristics of it. So the GLE 53 Coupe is basically a crossover or an SUV, but in my opinion, it drives like neither of those. It drives more like a sedan, which is great. So with all the drive modes, you can basically turn this into a very performance-oriented vehicle. And it, because of those suspension options that you change, the characteristics of the engine, the transmission, all those features, you drive around town, you drive a little sporty on some back roads, and you're not going to feel that you're in a crossover vehicle or an SUV. you're gonna feel that you might be in some kind of little bit bigger sedan or a coupe. But in my opinion, this thing has an identity crisis because it does not know that it's a crossover and SUV, and that's a good thing. That's nothing negative in terms of calling it an identity crisis. It's a very good thing that it drives more like a sedan or a coupe versus a crossover SUV. And I really think that's what Mercedes is going for with these performance-oriented vehicles. You know, there's a lot of people, based on life changes, they might be jumping from sedans and coupes and then have to get crossovers and SUVs, and then they miss, you know, the experiences they used to have behind the wheel of the sedans, coupes, sports cars, whatever. In my opinion, you do not miss that experience. You get it when you start this thing up. Now, if you have a baby in the back seat and you want to be in a more comfortable mode, a little bit more quiet, that's completely achievable with this vehicle. But if you want to have a really nutty mode and have it in Sport Plus, the exhaust loud, you get crackles, pops out the back, you can shift on your own. You know, the transmission's gonna be nice, crisp, zippy. You know, it's gonna rev match, and again, those barbels pops out the back. You're gonna basically be flying around town like in a performance sedan, coupe, sports car. But guess what? You're in a crossover vehicle or an SUV, however you want to characterize these vehicles. In my opinion, that's probably the best thing about this thing. So that if we were gonna number these things, that's honestly number one.